Right now, you will find out whether your ex will come back or not, and you will also be able to read real stories of people in the comments. From them, you will find out when your ex most often starts asking to come back. There are only 10 parameters that will determine whether your ex will come back to you or not. The first indicator is your behavior after the breakup. If you apologized, humiliated yourself, or fell into an aggressive hysteria only a couple of times, then in general, well, it is not particularly critical. All this will be quickly forgotten. But if you showed persistence to make peace with the woman, or even more so, begged or gave something, then it will take a long time to recover from such romantic cruelty. It will be a very important moment. How you behaved after you were told, I don't love you, get out. Every snotty message from your ex is a pause, plus 1 month. The second indicator, which directly affects the likelihood of your ex coming back. Did you manage to blame yourself before the breakup? Did you accept the blame for something you really didn't do? Because when a girl tells you that you ruined everything, she doesn't believe her words completely. She just wants a reaction from you, a confirmation, a purely heartfelt one, so that you take a pen on a piece of paper and write in large letters, yes, it was me who ruined everything. After that, it will be much easier for her to forget you. Much easier. After all, a girl always comes back hugging a feeling of guilt. After a breakup, there is a certain reassessment, and if you have already taken all the blame for yourself, then why should she come back? It turns out that you should come back to her, and not she to you. Well, it turns out the third indicator is how comfortable your ex was in the relationship with you. I hope everyone understands that falling in love and comfort are different. You can, for example, fall in love with a person with whom it is uncomfortable to live, and it happens the opposite, that there are no more feelings, but it is pleasant to interact with a person. If it was comfortable with you, then the ex begins to miss her much faster. Well, and if something angered her every day, well, some kind of habit, for example, then she will need a certain time to forget about it. The fourth indicator is how long you took a strong position. If the relationship understands that she does not want it anymore, but in order to finally leave you, she needs to at least chase these feelings inside herself, experience them, digest them. For this, she needs only 2 or 3 weeks. In my observations, if a man immediately stops this nonsense and says, "Stop, what do you mean you don't know if you want to be together? If you don't know, then you don't want to, if here." 2 options, 2 states. I want, I don't want. There is no intermediate option. But I understand your position. If you want to break up, well then say it. Okay, go ahead. Such a reaction preserves at least partially your attractiveness. But if you believe in this uncertainty and start waiting for some kind of final answer from the girl, then everything is very bad. Of course, you can get out of ignoring after this, but there is definitely no quick result. The 6th indicator is the intensity of feelings. In fact, it doesn't matter how many years you were together. It doesn't matter at all. What matters is how much the girl was in love with you at the moment, at the beginning of the relationship. Let's say, just try to rate it on a 10-point scale. If at least a 7 was, in your opinion, then the prospect is good. 7 points is when, for example, the girl tries to please you. I almost forgot to tell you about one more important indicator, even after breaking up. The girl will compare you with her immediate circle. If the former available man is an order of magnitude more successful, richer, more handsome, cooler, the woman's conclusion most often comes out, yes, when such a man leaves her. Well, and if you surpass her acquaintances in most indicators, then she will cling to you in any case, will hold on. Well, even half a year will not pass. She will already write you something under some invented pretext. So, we have not said anything yet. Oh yeah, how will your life change after a breakup or divorce? If a man's life gets worse, then no one will ever come back to him. I understood this principle, learned it, noticed it back in my youth, And that's why, after a breakup, my life always had a sharp rise in all directions. Now is not the time to be sad, to be chubby. You need to urgently start doing what you never got around to before. By the way, the jealousy factor can also have a strong influence. In my observations, if your ex knows that it's not difficult for you to meet someone there and that other women value you highly, then this puts on her, well, powerful pressure. Let's say in the process of distance or ignoring, with each day of silence, with each week, with each month, this pressure only gets stronger and stronger. The ex's environment also has an influence. Well, what do they say about you in general? Most likely, they say bad things about you, like about any ex. Well, it's good that you broke up with him. There would have been no life with him anyway. But there are also rare, exceptions, when a friend or a girl's mother can even say a kind word for you. Well, yes, of course, right after a breakup, this will not help in any way. But when 5 months have passed, then it already hits your brain painfully. The likelihood of a return is also affected by the number of times you rehearse the breakup. No one suddenly breaks up the first time. A man and a woman. They always rehearse, talk about it, they are threatened, they demonstratively pack their things, or just put each other on a blacklist. Each new repetition of a quarrel makes the breakup easier. If a girl has already lived through the breakup scenario in her head 5 times, then nothing can scare her anymore. But when the talk about breakup comes for the first time, a person can even shake from adrenaline. But people, unfortunately, forget that in a relationship there is a limit to these toy breakups. If you broke up in words more than 10 times, then do not expect quick nostalgia from your ex. The next parameter, the level of your usefulness. Well, I probably won't decipher this point. It's clear what we're talking about. These are your competencies, skills, knowledge, which the ex will always lack. There is another important point. In my opinion, observation is of great importance. How the relationship with the ex began in general. If it was you who suggested dating her, persuaded her to start living together, if it was you who developed the relationship and the ex slightly, let's say, slowed down their development, then in this scenario, the ex on the threshold of her apartment in the next 6 months, don't wait. But if everything was exactly the opposite, it was she who tried to initially set up a relationship with you, to adapt to you, yes, to develop them somehow, then the prospects are very good. But these are all just my observations, which were confirmed through hundreds of stories. Why did I even decide to record this video? Yes, because very often such questions come, but there is no point in sitting and guessing. I can say one thing for sure, a win-win option is to choose one of my closed lectures, to study it right this evening. Although, why put it off? You can right now. Do this. The link is under the video. Follow it.